Now, do you need that corresponding app to get that work, or does anybody get
Well, so these are unsecured. So as if you knew the unique ID that I set it to,
Yeah.
plus, well, no, that's all you need really. Then you could find out whether you're in range or not. And the other kind of neat thing is that when you're in range, I get two things. I get the major and minor number, so I can find that out. I can detect that. I can also detect the power, the signal. And the amount of signal is how you use how you figure out distance. So it's not perfectly accurate. I had these basically.
It's down to how many feet?
Hmm?
What's not perfect? What's the range?
The range is like inches, because I had them at my desk and I was doing stuff where I was sitting like this and like this. But I'm just saying it's not.
Okay.
I would expect accuracy. It's not accurate.
You wouldn't name a
guessing.
missile with it.
No, probably. Well, I mean, maybe actually. Because with a missile, a couple inches isn't going to matter. It's not like GPS where it's 30 meters sometimes. And I had them. So I presented these to David Mueller at Experian. We had them around the office, and I was walking around, basically going in and out of range of the different zones, and just seeing how far I could get. So one of these would last for a full floor, but.
Okay. So full floor. So what's the range? How big is it?
I would assume a floor at Experian is about the size of this office space.
Okay.
So I would probably be out of range if I were in your office.
Cool.
But as I walked in, I'd probably get it. There's two zones. There's basically the in range, there's that middle thing, and then there's out of range.
Got it.
So you can see it switch as it goes between those different zones. But then it will get pretty accurate, so within a couple of inches or so.
Awesome.
Do you have control of that range? Like if like a store wanted to go product by product, and as you got close to this product, it gave you this, as opposed to this product, it gave you that.
Yeah, I do it by shelf. But
Yeah, you could do-
I do plus or minus 2 feet probably.
Aisle, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, can you kind of range? That's
Yeah.
interesting,
Well, because if I get 3 of them, I can triangulate your location between those. So even if I have a couple side by side, I know that you're closer to number 3, further from number 1, and close to number 2. I know you're between these two. I can position you between them, even though I'm getting 6 beacons, let's say. I can know basically approximately
You
where
only
you're
pick up on
standing.
your beacons though, you won't pick up on anybody else's beacons.
Not unless I was able to, unless I knew what their unique ID was.
Right, so your app will only see yours.
And other apps can technically see yours if they can figure out what your ID
But
is.
it doesn't give them any, there's no,
Tells them 2 numbers.
yeah, it gives them no information, right?
Yep. It's basically like primary keys in a database.
Right.
Good luck using that for anything.
But interesting too to see sort of where.
These are kind of like all of our engineers.
Think about merchandising in a retail.
So it's a cross metal hang with
Crazy about that.
interwoven
Space,
group
how
right
that-
here.
You and I have talked about that, like,
Yes.
it's not.
Yeah, in fact, we're doing a pitch to someone right now talking about using this as for location-based stuff. The thing I think is the coolest though is just how cheap and easy the actual chip is, because it's just a standard Bluetooth chip that's been out for years and years and years. It's just a specific low energy module. It won't suck up your battery life basically, and it's got a really simple battery that can be paired with it. And I was talking to a friend who was like, well, could you just put one in a shoe somewhere? And I was like, yeah, there's no reason. It's basically like $6 of hardware to, once you get it in production, that you could do that, and then you could have basically people broadcasting their own beacons and then other things that tie to it. So it's going to be interesting to see what people come out with.
Check it to Meetup, unlock prices.
Exactly.
Speaking of that, I think the Nike Plus running thing was Bluetooth, at least for the first couple of iterations.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I was going to say. There's a lot of stuff coming out. Fitbit, Nike Fuel, automatic, smart meters, gas sensors, electricity stuff where you can actually hypermile your house instead of just your car. That's for information analysis. And then for automation control, kitchen appliances, thermostat, all the old X10 stuff. Now it's just becoming easier to plug in and hook up. And then smart lights. Philips Hue was a big one. There have been 2 or 3 that have been coming out every month this year that have been some sort of iPhone controlled lighting system. They're just getting cheaper and cheaper, easier to create and stuff, where you have people walking in and all of a sudden the lights, you know, dim to the proper thing. All of that is getting easier.
A buddy of mine got a whole fleet of those color changing bulbs and rigged them up to his music. So every time his music, you turned it on, they would all start pulsing and flashing based on what he was playing.
Cool, kids come in and have seizures.
Who makes this one that you have right here?
Estimote. So these are beta right now. They're selling them for $99. Takes about a month or so for them to actually ship, but they're in production doing this. They're just still changing things in their SDK, but I didn't even bother using their SDK. They just released, they're trying to figure out a way to encrypt it so that people can't just take advantage of, you know, be able to read other people's beacons.
You mean to be able to just see that they exist?
There's some people that are concerned about that, so they're trying to figure out a way, so they didn't allow you to update the UUID, but they shipped me mine right as they changed their SDK to be able to allow that, so I changed mine right away. I'm not using the standard ones now, which is why the Estimote app won't actually work with those, because they assume.
Excellent.
Jeffrey, we have questions from Hang With.
Oh, sure.
So, thoughts about Jawbone and their $215 million raise and what's going on with Withings and what's going on in healthcare right now?
Yeah, well, that's, I didn't mention them with the Nike Fuel and the Fitbit, but yeah, that's exactly the same sort of thing. Healthcare is a different topic, almost. Healthcare is...
It'll be a different lunch and learn.
Yeah.
Okay,
So we're gonna do a lunch and learn specifically on what's going on in healthcare. We'll kind of set that up.
So I actually was thinking about that topic and going into the Internet of Me, as
Uh-huh.
opposed to the Internet of Things, because that's where you have sensors. As a couple of you guys know, I have the blood pressure cuff. I have the smart, what are they called? You stand on and measure your weight. Scale, thank you.
Scale. From our
It's such an old term, that just doesn't make sense. Yeah, I have a smart scale, and I also have a heart blood monitor.
What's
that's
smart
right.
about the scale?
It measures my weight, body mass index, all of that, and syncs it online so I can track it over time.
And so we can watch it too.
Yeah, so I can post it to Facebook.
So is Apple supporting iBeacon? Is that
Apple
It's
came up
making
with
that
a
a standard?
standard.
Okay.
Let's call it a standard because
Yeah.
it makes more sense. And anybody can do it. It doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with Apple. You don't have to license it. It is literally, here's the length of these strings. As long as your Bluetooth device sends it out like this and is able to, you know, receive signals like that, that's it. That's iBeacon.
I see. So there's no
Estimote did
backing
not.
it, there's no
No.
license, there's nothing.
Which means it's also going to be pretty easy to implement
Sure.
for Android. That's, I think, going to be key of everybody using them.
Isn't there a license for Bluetooth itself, though?
Might be
Okay,
for
hold on,
hardware,
Mish.
but that's a
Let's
hardware
go.
issue. I mean, from our side, we're software,
No,
so
but
it
the
wouldn't
point
affect
is
us.
that this guy may be having to
Oh,
pay.
yeah, oh, yeah.
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
What is he asking? I can't understand Misha's question.
Who will finally risk it all and leave the wrist and design something so unique and stylish elsewhere? Perhaps Apple.
Is that a question or is that a statement?
We
Misha,
can
we
all
can't.
try to answer it.
Misha, okay, you want to answer that
No,
question?
don't look at me. I don't want to answer the question.
So the question is, I don't know how to. So who will finally risk it all and leave the wrist and design something so unique and stylish
He's
elsewhere?
saying
Perhaps Apple.
the watch is such a silly. The watch is silly. Sorry for all you guys are wearing those. The watch is a really silly device because it's really your phone is 6 inches away from your wrist and you can't do anything. All you can do is see it. All you can do is view it. And it's kind of a
The
silly.
ring is cool.
The what?
The ring?
I haven't seen the ring.
Oh my God, check out the ring.
But can you do anything? Is it
people are
smart or is
talking
it just
about
a
using it.
display piece?
Who wait? So DJ, you're getting your push notifications on your phone, right?
It's
So
convenient.
can you
If I
talk
can
about
push
that
right
for a
now, I
second?
don't have to look at my phone.
But your
I
phone
can be lazy
so-
and just do this.
But your phone can be sitting right there on the table,
It's
right?
usually in my pocket.
I see.
So
So
I'm driving in the
you're
car?
so lazy that actually pulling from your pocket and being able to respond is actually that much more
I
difficult
actually-
than
Less
look
check.
at
I
that.
actually also set up those lights, the Wemos, with the phone, or with the watch right here. So I can turn my lights on and off from here,
That's awesome.
Your lights to what?
in my house. Lights in my house, there's
Yeah.
on and off toggles on my watch.
That's so cool.
And it's better to have it on your watch in your mind than to have it right here, which probably you could dim it, you could probably do a whole lot more.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so you're a big fan of the watch.
Convenience factor, yeah. And this is primitive, I'm just supporting the primitive nature of it.
I see.
Yeah,
I see.
because I think it's gonna be a lot more in the future,
Right.
so.
Well, that's what his question is,
Right.
really.
And now
Is to
he
say,
wants
how
to-
we get away from the
Yeah,
rest.
and what about the ring? So elaborate more on the ring.
They're starting to work up concepts for a ring that will be gesture based, that you can basically use to make some sort of,
Holy shit.
yeah, it's gonna be pretty interesting when those prototypes start coming out. And there are rumors that Apple is working on that, not on a watch.
I want the Green Lantern version.
Yeah, exactly. That would be pretty
The
cool.
Lord of the Rings versions.
Yes. Yes. And then there's also that company, and I can't remember the name of it, that has these little tiny tags that are basically the same thing as this. They're a bit smaller. And the idea is that you hook it up to your keys and your phone and, you know, other sort of things. And you go online, you go on your computer basically, and you're able to find out where those things are. If you're, like me, you don't put your keys in the same place every single time, or your glasses.
And your kids' shoelaces.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Actually, there really is a very important reason of security, so I think about it, because people can take them. They can easily
Oh,
be stolen.
Physically
Yeah.
putting them in, that's easy.
No, but
You
I'm
just
saying,
build a case
I'm
around
saying
it.
somebody, well, you're saying build a case that locks them in.
Mhm.
I'm saying if somebody else has access to them, and they can find it by just searching for the device itself, they just get close enough to it and they yank it out of there. You can walk into Gap and yank it out of Gap,
Yeah,
right?
true.
If you can find it, if I can just find it.
But you can
where-
put it high enough on the wall that
Yeah,
their
I was-
batteries are 2-year battery.
Yeah, Dave and I
Right.
were talking about
Oh, I
this.
put it in the
Yeah.
ceiling.
Which
You
if you're
put it
doing-
in- but
That's
still,
what it's
somebody
targeted.
can get access to it. An employee wants to take it out, he can reach up, I mean, something can happen.
But you're not going to
People
know
can
how
find
close
it.
you are. We know from software. I wouldn't tell anybody,
But if
oh,
I
you're
bought,
6 feet
if
from.
I created a piece of software to actually
hack it.
find it, and then find the
If
strength,
you're
the
an employee at
signal.
the Gap, you probably can't do the program.
No, in this scenario, Andrew's working at the Gap.
Yeah.
That's your next gig.
Yeah, let's assume I had that job, let's just start with that first. And then, but the point is that people can get to them. If people can find them, they can get to them.
Yeah,
And they might not be able to go to ceiling, like you were talking about at a grocery store. In a grocery store, the ceiling may be too high, and you want to get down to 2 to 3 feet. So you're gonna
oh,
need it.
no, I'd
Okay,
still put it in
Michelle
the
asked.
ceiling. It doesn't matter. I know the distance where I want you to be. You just have to be in range, which is like 100 feet.
And it can get down to the accuracy of 100 feet, so if it's in that ceiling, it knows that I'm sitting here in the seat.
I know the target for this beacon. I want you within 30 to 34 feet.
Yeah, but
Range.
34 feet from a ceiling could be over here or over there, it doesn't necessarily have to
Well,
be.
it's an arc. So I'm holding my phone like this.
It's like
I'm
a
not,
tree.
I'm not doing
No, I get that.
this. So yeah, that's,
But you can be an aisle over and still be 34 feet.
yeah. I think we can, I think.
This
we
is about
can
the
see
triangulation,
typical
though?
usage.
But then you're multiple.
Well, it's the
you have to
difference
buy-
between
you have to buy
check-in and
3
win.
for- Then you gotta figure cost into it as well.
No, but it's the difference between check-in and win, where like what Scott's saying, you walk into McDonald's and you check
Yeah.
in and you win a prize,
No question about
versus
it.
in
Yeah.
hallway navigation, which is the other stuff we're talking about.
Well, even, we're talking about being down there in the grocery store and being able to say,
Oh.
Pepsi sending you a message when you're walking by Pepsi.
Right.
Or when you're walking.
Yeah, but if you triangulate, you should be able to do that.
But triangulation is, now you're getting into a whole nother expense too. You have 3x for buying all hardware at that time.
Right.
Think when you have to do that for 60,000 stores.
Right.
It's a different story.
What's crazy is how much merchandising happens in store that's based on behavior.
And I was gonna say, nobody has solved this yet.
Yeah.
too. So the things you're talking about, everyone's like, what's the, in fact, I just got an email from a friend today that was like, problem is, what's the thing that we're solving? This technology
Right.
is so cool, but
Well, people figure out what to solve things. And then they'll
Well,
figure
it's
it out if it
like
makes sense.
If you're buying an appliance and you step up to that appliance, it could show you like how this actually works.
Sure.
And like how you can take, you know, it could be a juice press and it can show you like, look how much juice you can press. It can show you a video and,
It can be a billboard in the sense
Uh-huh.
it can teach you things, it can give you information.
well, way more than a billboard.
Be cool to
Well,
plug that
no,
in
say,
with Google
It gives
Glass.
you a website, it gives you
Right,
all the
exactly.
information you need.
You don't have to go anywhere. It's like,
Right.
here's all the
Customers
stuff.
who bought this also bought, just throw the recommendation on it.
It's like one of those QR codes, but with one less step.
one less step, that's pretty much exactly what it
Well,
is.
because it's like, I don't actually have a QR code reader, like QR codes have no value to me. So it's like for people who don't have that, like, you know,
Right,
this.
right.
What's that?
So this is not a bomb.
Misha, I'll ask your question in a moment.
Tyler and I met. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. So Tyler and I met some guys that do some hardware stuff, so the partner people guys, and they built this for me just to play with. And it's kind of fun because it's not an iBeacon per se. It actually is just using Bluetooth LE to send a signal. And there's this little app, and I've got the code for this called VLE Shield that basically is just using this Arduino board along with the Bluetooth LE thing, and then I've got an LED and this motor. And let's see, I'm connected, so I'm going to send it. Let's see. So I'm able to send it commands basically through my little app. Kind of a fun little toy that we're playing with right now. So I don't have anything more than that. It's just-
it's like fly.
No,
I think
yeah.
people at home
No,
were
that's-
hoping it would fly.
That's it. Just
Lift off.
for me, the cool part is that now I've got something that is actually interacting and sending commands that are performing some sort of mechanical feature. So
That's using Bluetooth as well.
yeah. So the idea is that if you had something that you were building that was actually real, that had an actual function, you'd do this, and then we'd send it off to someone to actually build the smaller.
So you could walk past an in-store display and like make it come to life or do cool shit like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's really cool.
Although you walk by.
Right, you're the 1 millionth customer.
Yeah.
The whole store like blows up in balloons and confetti.
Yeah.
Which unit did you say that was?
Which one is this? I think it is. It's not Uno. It's. I've got the specs. I'll send them. Yeah.
Do you know if that shield can lock onto the beacon?
No, I think I think we'd have to write. We'd have to write the beacon specific
Right.
information for this. Yeah.
Would the beacon be able to recognize me individually? Like, let's say I walk into the Gap and then it starts recommending, "Hi Scott, you've been here before."
Beacon
Check
can't
out the
do
shield.
anything. All the beacon does is send you who it is.
But the back end can know.
The
Right.
app
Yeah.
will
So
then
you
make
can't
that
connect through
recommendation.
it to it? Okay. Wow.
So yes, but for the developers technically no. That's how.
What do you mean?
That is
Yeah.
part of how it has such low power.
Exactly.
Is that
It
just
does
kind of
one
burst?
tiny function
It's a
very
weird one.
consistently.
But you just said the beacon knows who you are. The beacon doesn't know who you are.
Beacon doesn't. It's the app.
No.
Okay, yeah,
But the
sure, app.
beacon triggers an action in the app that causes the app to go find out who you are.
Yeah.
But the beacon doesn't collect any information. It's all
Yeah.
one way.
Just a weird one.
And then one totally separate thing that I did recently that I was just playing around with, shapeways and 3D printing. And I wanted to see how this would work. They have a JavaScript kind of programming language thing that you can do that takes pieces of things and basically assembles this shape, and then you can send it out to be printed. And you can tell, I wanted to see what it would look like to actually generate a parabola in 3D. And so it was a very simple function to do mathematically. And I used cubes basically as pixels, and I had to have them bigger so that they would overlap because when you're plotting parabola, you get points like this, and they get further and further away. So you have to make sure that your cubes are big enough basically to overlap. But I did that, had this printed. So anyway, I thought you guys might want to see that. It's kind of fun. $10.
Who's
Do
the
this, see if it
3D
works.
printing company?
Shapeways.
Okay.
Yeah, so they've got a whole bunch of different little tools for making frames, picture frames and all that stuff. But once you dig through it, you can actually find the JavaScript thing, and you can sit there and code it and keep rerunning it, and it re-renders for you. Most people probably won't do intensive things like I'm doing. I mean, the idea is that you're supposed to put boxes and spheres and stuff and assemble them, and you can do unions as well. You can do subtractions. So it's easy enough to do shapes like that. They don't expect you to do thousands of iterative loops like I was doing.
So theoretically, could you
have the 3D printer print you a 3D printer, so that you can print more 3D printers.
They do that actually, yeah. Yeah, they have 3D printers that self-replicate.
It's like a handful of
What you do is you find a genie in the bottle, and you ask for more wishes. Right?
Well, you 3D print yourself more wishes.
Good thinking.
But for all of us that watch Stargate and know not to have replicators like that, yeah.
Okay, another question from the field in terms of back to health technology
Okay.
for a moment.
Sure.
All of a sudden, you're the expert on health and technology.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Will hospitals ever get together and create an app that tracks all of your vitals so that your doctor always has everything?
Not if it has anything.
We saw that. Qualcomm, remember we saw that? Qualcomm was doing it?
Yeah.
Where they attached the thing to you, and then they get you, and they had like a call center that was actually tracking your vitals. That would tell you if your heart rate went lower, and they could call you, and it was like they had a picture of this like in India, these guys sitting there tracking your vitals. It was so crazy. A room full of people.
So yes, Mish, that's being done.
That is being done because I had that at Hogue a couple years ago, and it was a monitor and stuff, but Bluetooth is low, I forget what it's called, but the FCC considers it low
Security?
cell emission or something. It's basically, it's not going to conflict with any of their stuff, so it's okay to use Bluetooth for stuff like that. Where
Inside
it's-
your body.
You mean like
Inside a
not an
hospital.
interrupted pacemaker or something like
Yeah,
that?
inside a hospital.
Let's gotta figure out how to get it inside your
Load
body.
Oh, so now the Bluetooth is acceptable, then
Mhm.
it'll follow.
And that's why everybody's using it, and the chips are cheap now, so, yeah, we're gonna see a lot more, and a lot of outside sensors that you can just basically
Right,
stick
a
on.
watch, for instance.
Well-
It could just be a watch, or it could be something that's tracking, that's touching your body somehow, but on the outside, not inside.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that are still gonna have to be stuck to us physically, to our chest. Get a lot of data there, or to our head, yeah.
Yeah, that's not cool.
Gotta make it stylish.
In fact, I backed a Kickstarter for one of the new head ones, and it's gonna come with a developer kit. So I'll be able to, prove that my brainwaves are, different from everybody else's.
You don't need to prove that. We already know that.
So this is what insanity looks like. Yeah.
So we do it on a heat map.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now I'll just be
Cool.
sitting here and trying to do Xcode like this, thinking at it.
Anybody else see anything cool? Like I know DJ, you're using the watch for push notifications, which I think is awesome. Anybody else see anybody doing anything or using anything cool right now that's?
Well, touching on what Jeffrey was talking about, all you have to do is go down the street a ways. Smart Home is an aggregator, kind of like Nordstrom's. They don't necessarily make anything, but they retail everything. And they have so many devices that are targeted for the home of the future. You should just go to their website and see. They probably have about 30 or 40% of all things. And when you go in and talk to them, then you'll find out that they have, refrigerators that talk about your teaching, how to cook or something like that. And these devices in the kitchen or the devices in the house know about each other, and they work collaboratively. And it's not just about turning the lights on and off. It's about turning things off when you leave, and shutting down, thermostat, locking the house, motion sensors, or just whatever, making windows opaque. So, yeah.
I'm not sure how new it is, but I heard that Oakley and Ray-Ban now partnered with Google Glass.
Yes.
Yeah, the Google Glass plus the beacons is going to be interesting, like to walk up to something and see like extra information because of right where you're standing.
Yeah. I'm just hoping they can get something in front as opposed to up and on the side.
We saw some stuff at CES that was directly in front where you looked through it and it was like clear glasses and then it could go opaque and you could see projection on it. It was pretty cool
Just
stuff.
don't want that happening as you're driving.
No.
Alert.
Right. No, but
modal window and you're like,
they
That was a hard stop.
they had a demo from what was the movie?
It was my discount.
It was the they had a demo from some movie and you looked at it, you expected it to look like what all video looks like when you're looking through a piece of glass. It's, it's cool, but it doesn't look like you're actually watching real video like against a black screen. And this was the first time I saw it where it actually looked like I was watching video against a black screen.
That's cool.
Not safe while driving.
No, not safe while driving.
There's a drive mode toggle for that.
Yeah, yeah, we won't be building that into any automobile apps anytime soon.
With the house as well, people leave for vacation, they have security lights that go on and off. I would have it so that it would have TV and stuff go on, turn off at a certain time, lights start to go on in a certain pattern.
Is there a random pattern?
Well, I probably have a pre-programmed, pattern still, but
Seems like a
there's
lot
still
of
enough
work.
consistency that if anybody's watching it, they're just going to assume somebody's there.
For sure.
Smart. A dog would probably work too.
Yes. We usually take our dog with us. That's what we do.
One of those.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, this
Yeah,
is
that's
awesome.
Yeah.
That's the first
Yeah.
lunch and learn, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you from our 24 viewers on Hang With too.
Excellent.
People
Thank
were
you.
really digging it, so
Yeah,
guys, thanks for tuning in.
and that's really cool. That was a lot of feedback that came out of the one-on-ones every.
Because with a missile, a couple inches isn't gonna matter. It's not like GPS where it's 30 meters
There's like
sometimes.
target size.
And I had them, so I presented these to David Mueller at Experian. We had them around the office and I was walking around basically going in and out of range of the different zones and just seeing how far I could get. So one of these would last for a full floor, but
Okay, so so what's the range? How big is it?
I would assume a floor at Experian is about the size of this office space.
Okay.
So I would probably be out of range if I were in your office.
Now, do you need that corresponding app to get that work, or does anybody?
Well, so these are unsecured, so as if you knew the unique ID that I set it to,
Yeah.
plus, well, no, that's all you need really. Then you could find out whether you're in range or not. And the other kind of neat thing is that when you're in range, I get two things. I get the major and minor number, so I can find that out, I can detect that. I can also detect the power, the signal.
Oh, can you get down on that range? That's
Yeah.
interesting,
Well, because if I get 3 of them, I can triangulate your location between those. So even if I have a couple side by side, I know that you're closer to number 3, further from number 1, and close to number 2. I know you're between these two. I can position you between them, even though I'm getting 6 beacons, let's say. I can know basically approximately
You
where
only
you're
pick up on
standing.
your beacons though, you won't pick up on anybody else's beacons.
Not unless I was able to, unless I knew what their unique ID was.
Right.
Cool.
But as I walked in, I probably get it. There's 2 zones. There's basically the in range, there's that middle thing, and then there's out of range.
Got it.
So you can see it switch as it goes between those different zones. But then it will get pretty accurate, so within a couple of inches or so.
Awesome.
Do you have control of that range? Like if like a store wanted to go product by product, and as you got close to this product, it gave you this, as opposed to this product, it gave you that.
Yeah, I do it by shelf. But
So you could do-
I do plus or minus 2 feet probably.
Aisle, yeah.
Yeah. And the amount of signal is how you use how you figure out distance. So it's not perfectly accurate. I had these basically.
It's down to how many feet?
Hmm?
What's not perfect? What's the range?
The range is like inches, because I had them at my desk and I was doing stuff where I was sitting like this and like this. But I'm just saying it's not.
Okay.
I would expect accuracy. It's not accurate.
You wouldn't name a
basically
missile
guessing.
with it.
No, probably. Well, I mean, maybe actually. That